baby, listen to me speak, yeah. No matter what, just let it go.
Pop, Persuable. What's going on, boo-boos? I hope we all are having a wonderful weekend. And today we are going to talk about the batter. Now, for all my Americans, this is not baseball. This is cricket. It's going to be a learning curve for me, too. First, it'd be like, he plays cricket. I'm like, crickets belong outside. How do you play cricket? How do you play an animal? I'm just kidding. Alright, so with this character, we are going to show you the top 5 things that I have learned by playing this character. And before we do that, we'll go over a basic overview of some of the skills, and then throughout the video, I'm sure we're going to touch base on a lot of them. So pretty much you have a skill where you can hit the ball and you can push the character back and regain your ball, and then you have an ability called breakout, and breakout pretty much is a power state where you cannot get your ball back, but then you can stun the hunter upon hitting against an object. Don't worry, boo-boos. I'm going to show you exactly what all of that is to make that very clear, because it is a little confusing. There's also a trait called sense of duty. When somebody is injured within 18 meters, you get a 50% movement speed for about 10 seconds. There is a cooldown of 60 seconds. And that should be noted. We'll get into that a little bit. And of course, the mechanical noise, the decoding and speed decryption machine is reduced by 20%, which would make sense with these sorts of characters. So, number 5. This is the basic ability. The basic ability essentially means that you can use your ball to try to stun, which it didn't work right there. Not stun. Push the hunter back. And then when you push the hunter back, you can gain your ball back later on in the map at any point in time. Now, this is an example of me using it in an actual gameplay. This is not against a bot, and I kind of stick around this area knowing that the violinist is most likely going to come here. This is a popular point, and that basic ability, again, although you cannot stun, when you charge it up all the way, you can get pretty considerable distance, and you'll see this right here, where I push him pretty far away, and that allows me to transition to another area. That's going to be a good ability for transition in the open, something that you see often against sculptors. And you cannot stun, so even if they are in the balloon, they do not get stunned when you use your basic ability. But you see me picking up that cricket ball again. And I think that's what it's called. If that's not what it's called, my bad. And we're going to show one more example just to really get the whipped cream on the top here. You cannot stun, but you can push them back, and you can gain that ball back. Now, here is burst state. But, well, actually, no, that's not burst state. That's my bad editing. Actually, it's my bad voiceover. So that's another example of your basic ability. How about we show number 4, burst state? So burst state does take about a second to activate, so you can't use it whenever you want. You have to actually prepare for it. If you use it too late, the hunter can catch up to you and hit you. And you can see that that is the stun. So when you're in burst state, the burst state lasts approximately 20 seconds with a 40-second cooldown. And when you bump them into an object, and that's the key, you have to bump them into an object, they get stunned. And here's an example, I believe, of me using the burst state and getting a pretty far stun. I think that registered the stun. And this is gameplay where it doesn't hit against an object, and it registers as just your regular ability, except this time the ball breaks and you lose it. See how I did not hit him into an object? So there is no stun. Number 3, there is no auto aim. You have to be very, very accurate with this ability. It's not like Gamekeeper where the hook auto calibrates. It's not like a flare gun that will automatically track the hunter. You have to be exactly on point in order for this ability to activate, which gives a lot of maneuvering for hunters, especially experienced hunters, to try to avoid this ability. And this is just me practicing a little bit, especially from long distances, just seeing if the ball would track it all, and we see that it doesn't track. This was when the character was first launched. And unless you're extremely accurate with it and understand how fast it goes, it can spell for disaster. Number 2, he does have harassment ability. And what's going to make this character very interesting is that he's going to be able to maintain distance from the hunter. And what's also interesting is right when the hunter decides to pick you up, if you can time your baseball correctly, you can stun the hunter, and then that allows me to be dropped instantly. And that all comes down to whether you have mastered the ability to stun before the pickup animation occurs, which is a common suggestion among all rescue or harassment characters. However, although this survivor does have harassment ability, we should be reminded that it's only during the burst state, and the burst state only lasts 20 seconds, and even if you do use a bull, there's a 10-second cooldown. That allows hunters to have the ability to either outweight it or to make you prematurely use the skill, as in order to use the skill in burst state, it takes about a second for you to activate it. So although there is harassment ability, I do not think that it's going to be as dangerous as what Cowboy can bring to the table, although at least it is something, which is better than nothing. And in my opinion, the number one thing, when somebody is injured within 18 meters, it gives you a 50% movement speed bonus for 10 seconds, which can put you in position for harassment, etc. Now, I know we all know this, but something that's extremely interesting is when you're actually on the rocket chair, and I'm going to provide the footage. I'm on the rocket chair here, and when the survivor is injured, it activates that same ability, and so when I hop a window, I get twice the amount of speed because of my build. So that ability, as of now, is activating when you have to be rescued. And so right now you can see that logo up there. Look at my movement speed, and then it gets doubled. Look at how fast I'm moving. And that is the most interesting thing about that ability, and I'm not sure if it's going to stay. Depending on the situation, that now means that his ability to exit the rocket chair is better than what the magician's ability is, without any repercussions to actually having to rescue him with the rescue speed. So again, pay attention to that logo up there. You're going to see it pop up. And when it does pop up, I have that movement speed increase as well as an additional movement speed increase here. And the question is, will that make it to the final product?